Frederick Douglass, abolitionist and author. Frederick Douglass was a famous orator, author, and abolitionist. He was a slave until 1830 when he escaped. After he escaped, he worked non-stop to abolish the evil that was slavery. He traveled the world giving moving speeches about slavery. Frederick Douglass helped us get one step further to abolishing it. Early life. Douglass was born in February 1818 on a plantation in Talbot County, Maryland. His mother, Harriet Bailey, was a slave. His father was most likely Aaron Anthony, the plantation owner. Douglass lived there until he moved to serve Hugh and his wife, Sophia Hall. Hugh's wife started to teach Douglass how to read and write until her husband made her stop. However, he continued to learn from the white children in his neighborhood. Douglass was later sent to serve slave breaker Edward Covey. He almost broke him. Soon after, he escaped slavery with the help of his friends. He had tried several times before to escape, and had failed almost every time. Frederick Douglass wrote and published 3 books during his lifetime. The first book he wrote was called Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave. It was published in 1845 when he was only 27 years old. It was an immediate success in both America and Europe. The second book that he wrote was called My Bondage and My Freedom, 1855. It was published when he was 37. The third and final book he wrote was called The Life and Times of Frederick Douglass, 1881. It was published when he was 63 years old. Frederick Douglass was also very famous for his moving speeches. He spoke openly about demolishing slavery around the world. During the Civil War, he argued that slaves and African Americans should be able to fight in the war too. Speeches. Douglass wrote speeches that spoke out against racism and slavery. He used irony and persuasive expressions to get his point across. His speeches helped abolitionists get slavery outlawed in some areas. One of his most famous speeches is called, "Woke to the Slave is the 4th of July." Civil War. Frederick Douglass convinced Lincoln to let African Americans fight for the Union. He felt it was their responsibility since their freedom was what the troops were fighting for. He met with President Lincoln twice. Frederick Douglass died on February 20th, 1882, but his accomplishments are still recognized for abolishing slavery. Thanks for watching.